Enter the Gungeon, except you can't dodge roll and you're only allowed to use your starter weapons. And no, I am not a masochist.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now.
But those are basically the two main gameplay mechanics in the game. You're supposed to dodge roll over bullets, pick up guns, and dodge roll over some more bullets. So how the fuck are you supposed to do this? Well, before we get to that, I gotta go over the rest of the rules, because those weren't the only restrictions I put on this challenge. In addition to those, I'm banning use of the bullet, and I'm also banning blasphemy from this challenge, because they make the game too easy. I'm also banning any items that deflect bullets, so I'm not going to be using actives like the potion of lead skin, for example. I will be allowed to use blanks, however. So now, you're probably asking, how the fuck are you supposed to do this challenge? Well, right off the bat, I realized that trying to find loot in the Gungeon is basically pointless. You go through multiple side rooms trying to walk around bullets or find tiny little gaps in their attack patterns, and your reward is a D-ranked gun that I can't even use. Instead, I activated the Rainbow Run, which spawns a rainbow chest at the start of each floor. Every rainbow chest drops 4 guns and 4 items, but during a Rainbow Run, you're only allowed to pick 1 out of the 8 items. And since the extra guns were off limits, I could only pick 1 item out of the 4 that were dropped. Still, this choice gave me a better chance of finding high quality items without going out of my way for them. However, there is one exception to this rule. If you've played the Gungeon before, then you'll know that there are pits that you can fall into if you don't dodge roll over them. But if I'm not allowed to dodge roll over them, then I literally can't do this challenge. So in order to do this, I had to give myself wax wings, which allow me to fly over pits, but as a trade-off, I destroyed the first rainbow chest that spawns. My reason for this was that the wax wings are a B-ranked item, which means that when you open a rainbow chest, there's a chance that the wings will drop. Rather than resetting this challenge for a long time just to find the wings, I gave them to myself and didn't take any other loot from the rainbow chest. I'm sorry if all of this delegitimizes the challenge to you, but I really didn't feel like fucking around with RNG for 10 hours before I could do an actual run. But there's still another problem. The starter weapons aren't exactly that good. I'd say that aside from blasphemy, the best starter weapon is the robot's right hand, and even that becomes obsolete by the black powder mines. But there is one saving grace here. The paradox starts with a random starter weapon and a random non-starter weapon. The non-starter weapon could literally be any gun in the Gungeon, which is why I had to put another restriction here. On one particular run, I started with the Fight Saber, which is an S-ranked gun that deflects bullets when you reload. I put a ban on items that deflects bullets since they trivialize the challenge, so in addition to that, I reset that run and also banned guns that deflect bullets. This meant that guns like Fight Saber and the Black Hole gun were off the table. Okay, so that's all the context that you're gonna need. If you want to watch the full run, there's a link to it in the description for your viewing pleasure, but in this video, I'll try to summarize how I somehow beat this nightmare. My starter weapons for this run with the paradox were the budget revolver, or the convict starting weapon, and the triple crossbow. This gun is a C-ranked weapon, but it's actually powerful, so I was pretty satisfied with this. The budget revolver was also good enough to clear rooms with, even with its small magazine size and rather inaccurate aim. That being said, I did take my fair share of hits. Most of them were unavoidable, but some were... they were lapses of judgment for sure, but most of them were unavoidable. The red shotgunkin fired walls of bullets that have a tight spread. Gun nuts are way more terrifying than before, and I found myself cowering behind tables and walls as waves of bullets washed over me. And after you go through all of these rooms, you find yourself at the boss chamber. Now, the first chamber bosses are all generally difficult to deal with, since their attacks were designed to be dodge rolled over. The Bullet King, for example, has this attack that'll hit you if you're not far away enough, but he also has this attack that's way more difficult to dodge without rolling. The Gatling gun has this charge-up attack that's pretty much the same, and is also very hard if you don't have any cover to kite around him. Your best bet for making it out of the first chamber alive is with the Trigger Twins. A lot of their attacks can be avoided by careful movement and by constantly moving in general. The only circular attack they have is in the boss's second phase, and there is a wide enough gap between the bullets for you to walk through. After this boss fight, instead of going directly to the elevator, I actually spent a couple more minutes looking for the shop since I was out of triple crossbow ammo and I wanted to see if he was selling any. In the end, the risk wasn't worth it because he was selling 3 keys instead. So, with that, we're on to the Gungeon proper. On this floor, I was able to take my first item from the rainbow chest, and I ended up picking the Riddle of Lead because it gives a lot of useful bonuses, like increased damage and a 50% chance to negate damage when I'm on 1 heart or half a heart. On this floor, the biggest hazards are the Cubalons and Flame Wisps because of the whole dodge rolling thing. Some of you may also think that the lead banons would be a pain in the ass, but me personally, I don't think they're hard to kill. Just walk around the bullets. I mean, yeah, they're really easy to kill. Also, I got lucky because a shopkeeper was selling ammo on this floor, so I was able to get a refill on my triple crossbow before the boss fight. The Beholster might be one of the worst bosses you could get for this challenge. This beam attack right here is unavoidable. The only way you can avoid it without dodge rolling is with passive items that increase your speed, but I didn't have any. You can use a blank to get rid of it though, but I only had 2. So, this boss fight was just a race against time. The easiest boss I could have gotten here would be the Gorgon. Her attacks are relatively simple to maneuver around. One neat trick that I learned from this is that sometimes she does this attack, where she sprays her Uzis at you. This can be pretty hard to just walk through. Instead, if you stand above her, then she'll never do this attack. With this tip, I was able to flawless her in a different run. Also, after the Beholster fight, this happened. I was really pissed about that, but I had bigger problems to worry about. The black powder mines were upon us. If I got unlucky with bosses, or with enemy spawns, then I was basically fucked. Thankfully, I got one of the best items I possibly could have gotten from the rainbow chest. The Lich's Eye bullets allowed my triple crossbow to synergize with other weapons, even if they weren't in my inventory. This was huge, because this was the only ways I was able to up my DPS. Since I couldn't pick up any guns, I had to find ways to increase the damage of the ones I already had, so items like the Riddle of Lead and the Lich's Eye bullets were crucial during the run. The only synergy that my triple crossbow formed though was with the sticky crossbow, which caused the triple shot bolts to explode while reloading. At this point, this gun became my boss killer because it only had 100 bolts, and I became increasingly reliant on my budget revolver to clear through rooms. Besides that, the enemies here are also a lot stronger. Jamomancers stress me out to unimaginable ends, and the shambling rounds are also a pain in the ass. I battled for my life against these gun turrets. There are also a lot more gun dead on this floor. At one point, I was at 1 heart, but thankfully, the shop had ammo and a full heart for me when I got there. And then, there was the boss. The Treadnought is by far the easiest boss I could have gotten here. In his arena, there will always be these pillars that you can use for cover before he destroys them. This makes it really easy to employ shoot and hide tactics. Instead, I could have gotten Cannon Balrog, who has this rolling attack that's incredibly hard to dodge. Or, I could have gotten Mind Flayer, with an arena that literally had no cover. Both of these would have ended my run, especially since I was on really low health, but the game made up for that Beholster fight. The hollow is a massive difficulty spike for this challenge. I took the Gun Knight helmet for the extra armor since I needed all the health I could get here. Clearing rooms was becoming exponentially more difficult, and it didn't help that I really only could use my budget revolver to clear through them, since I didn't want to waste the triple crossbow's ammo. Even with the damage upgrades, the revolver was starting to fail me against a stronger gun dead. I couldn't quickly kill ammomancers, who were a problem because they summoned skeletons. Also, these high Gungers can just go fuck themselves. I unfortunately made the mistake of praying at this chance statue. Yeah, thanks. That's exactly what I needed during a rainbow run. So, after all of that, I stepped into the boss chamber with 3.5 hearts, and found myself against the Wallmonger. I got lucky again. If I had gotten the Trigger Twins, I would have 100% died from this attack, and if I had gotten the High Priest, I would have died from this bullshit instead. The Wallmonger is a lot better than these two. Most of his bullet patterns can be walked around, and when he initiates this attack, Wax Wings allowed me to stay in the middle of the arena and do big damage. With all 5 hearts, I was feeling more confident than ever. I decided to try and find the shop for ammo. I knew it was risky, but the extra crossbow ammo would be worth it. And it was worth it. I bought my ammo and a blank, but I noticed that I was 3 coins short of another blank. If I just cleared one more room, then I would be able to bring another... I really did it to myself. I got greedy, and the game threw Blockner at me. Thankfully, he got melted pretty quickly, but I had to use some triple crossbow ammo, which really sucked. In the end though, I still had all of my health, plus I got an extra blank and a map. This was actually big, because I found out where the secret room was, which basically allowed me to trade a blank for a piece of armor. The forge was the last obstacle. From this chest, I took blank bullets, because they were extremely useful in clearing enemy bullets. This was important, because a lot of this floor is trying to manage the flow of the battle. Kill the weakest enemies first, then prey on the weaknesses of the stronger enemies. Still, there were for sure a lot of nerve-wracking moments.
No!
This was it. This was the last enemy. Now, before we continue, there's something I have to explain here. During this phase, you're supposed to stay within these safe zones by dodge rolling over the bullets. In my case, my best bet was to use the blanks to clear a path for myself. However, there are very small gaps in the bullets that you can just walk through. It's very precise, but it's definitely possible. You may think that this is over, but there's one more floor, isn't there? Nah, I got my ass beat pretty quickly there. Also, it's impossible for me to get over there because you literally can't dodge roll across these platforms to the Billow Hill entrance. The only way to cross this gap without dodge rolling is with the rat boots, but these boots are a C ranked item, which means that it's impossible to get them from a rainbow chest. So, as far as I'm concerned, I beat the challenge.